The commitment train just keeps on rolling for Tennessee football in the month of July. 3 more commits from over the weekend, including 2 from yesterday. Who are they and what are they bringing to the class? We'll tell you here on a Monday, Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good Monday, everybody, and welcome back into a new edition of Locked On Vols. It's a new week, and we got a fun 5 shows ahead for you guys this week as we gear on toward the SEC Media Days starting next week. Personally, first, I'd like to thank LinkedIn Jobs for being the official college football recruiting sponsor across the Locked On College Network. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnCollege. Terms and conditions will apply. I'm Eric Kane, your host here of Locked On Vols. Of course, you can always find this podcast at _Kaner on Twitter and at Locked On Vols. It's your first listen. Thank you so much. Wherever you find your podcast, and it's your first watch on YouTube each and every day. We've got a lot to get into today. A lot of recruiting to get into from over the weekend, including 2 commits from the day yesterday on Sunday, one on Friday, and that followed Cam Selton, who committed on Thursday. So if you like recruiting, this is the episode for you. Tennessee still on commitment watch coming up later today for Lucas Simmons, though I feel as if that is an FSU lean at the moment right now. So let's go ahead and get into it right now, guys. And again, brought to you in part by LinkedIn, it's fitting that that's the read I got to do to start things off here, because we're talking all recruiting right now ahead of Twitter Tuesday tomorrow. Little slight plug there. Get in your questions, comments, and concerns at _Kaner and at Locked On Vols for Twitter Tuesday tomorrow. But here are the 3 commits that committed to Tennessee over the weekend. First, it was Shamurad Umarov, the offensive tackle from Georgia. That was on Friday. A 3-star per Rivals, offensive tackle, 4-star per the other outlets. On Sunday, a highly rated 4-star across the board, a top 30 player or top 35 player in the entire country per Rivals, Chandavian Bradley. Really, really nice prospect. He commits to the University of Tennessee on Sunday, and we'll call it about 4 o'clock Eastern time. And then to cap things off later in that evening, it was linebacker Jalen Smith, who is a 4-star as well. So Tennessee's starting to really bring him in here lately. And let me give you some quick numbers here before we get going. In the month of July, Tennessee now sits at a total of 18 commits. This is for the class of 2023. 18 commits for the class of 2023, 11 of which are on the defensive side of the football. In the month of July, Tennessee has brought in 7 commits. 7 commits in the month of July, 6 of which have been for the class of 2023. And if you remember, of course, the other one was Jonathan Eccles, the highly rated 4-star athlete out of IMG Academy. And he's for the class of 2023. So you've had 7 commits since the turn of the calendar into July, 6 of which for the class of 2023. So Tennessee has been on quite a roll here lately. But let's start with the order of most importance, in my opinion. The one that kind of came in the middle of the meat of that sandwich, and it's fittingly so, because I think this guy is going to be an absolute stud. Tennessee picks up the commit of highly rated 4-star prospect edge rusher Chandavian Bradley, 6'6", about 215, and that was Sunday at about 4 o'clock. Per Rivals, he is rated as the number 32 prospect in the entire country. Okay, so what this means right now is Tennessee has the 8th best prospect in the entire country, and Nico Iamaleava, the quarterback. Tennessee now has the 32nd ranked prospect in the entire country. This is all per Rivals in Chandavian Bradley, and commits or prospect number 66 nationwide per Rivals is safety Sylvester Smith. Tennessee has 3 top 100 players in the country for the class of 2023. And Chandavian Bradley, everybody needs to be Nico Iamaleava. That's the best, commit of this class, of course, because it's the quarterback position. But Chandavian Bradley might be a close second. I'm high, and I've been a high on Chandavian Bradley this entire recruiting cycle. He's the number 1 player out of the state of Missouri. He is from Plott County. I believe that's how you say it, Plott or Plotte. I'm going to go with Plott City, Missouri. If you guys know, and if I'm wrong, please DM me and let me know. He attended Plott County High School, number 1 player out of the state of Missouri. He picked Tennessee over a Final 3 of the Volunteers, Texas A&M, and South Carolina. Missouri was nowhere to be found inside his top 10. Missouri was nowhere to be found inside his top 3. He wanted to get out of Missouri and obviously wanted to stay in the SEC and, pick Tennessee. He was here on campus for the Rocky Top of Palooza there towards the end of May, and he told me, during the trip that he, wanted to come back and do an official visit for the University of Tennessee, but he never scheduled one. And, the month of June kind of came and gone, and he never came back. And the thought was that he was going to try to get back towards the end of the month when that recruiting period opens up at the end of July. And, he went ahead and committed right before that. So he could still come back for that, or he could come back unofficially for that, or he could save his official visits if he doesn't use it for the open week in July and save it for a weekend in the fall. And I think that would be really, really good. Considering all things, come back and play recruiter, right? So Chandavian Bradley is a Leo in every sense of the word. He's going to pair up now with Caleb Herring, who was the number 1 player in the state of Tennessee, a top 120 player, our top 135 player in the country per Rivals. And those are your 2 Leos in this class right now. Tennessee, of course, is still trying to bring in Rico Walker, but Caleb Herring and Chandavian Bradley, that is a really, really solid start to what you're getting here. This is Bill Utz, the Plott County head coach. I talked to him prior to the commitment announcement of Chandavian Bradley, and here's what his head coach in high school had to say, Bill Utz. Quote, Chandavian is a physically talented kid that has a ton of growth in front of him, both in terms of physical growth and growth in his game. He is excellent stand-up young man. I'm extremely proud to have him in my program. All right, he goes on to say, he is just a gifted athlete. His pass rush is natural. He's very elegant when he rushes the passer. He runs extremely fluid, and he's very smooth. I would almost call him liquid in a sense of if he wants to go unblocked, he wants to be unblocked, he has the ability to be very slimy. He plays with a good motor, and there's a lot of times where big plays that he is making is when he is when the plays are running away from him. We see these things on kickoff coverage where he's sprinting down the field and he's able to make those type of plays. I think his given ability and his motor are probably his 2 best attributes right now, end quote. That is from Bill Utz, his high school head football coach at Plott County in Missouri. And so, he's not lying. His motor and his God-given ability are tremendous upsides. And you can see those on his film when you kind of break those down. He absolutely dominates at that level in Missouri. I mean, he really, really does. And typically, again, if you are a Southeastern Conference prospect, you are the best player on the field just about every single time you step foot onto the field, unless you're playing another one. Sometimes you might be 2 or 3. But nonetheless, that's pretty much the case for Chandavian Bradley each and every time he takes to the field. He can do pretty much whatever he wants to do. He's a very coachable player. He's more comfortable in a 2-point stance, rushing the quarterback, but he can put his hands in the dirt, oftentimes coming off the edge, working his hands with offensive tackles, getting into the backfield. He can also line up in the box, and play, line up out of the box and play over a slot receiver as more of an outside linebacker in space. He's 6'6", 215 pounds. He can be used a lot of ways. His motor, again, it's always running. He's able to track people down from the backside. They try to run away from him all the time. All right. Explosive plays, but he takes really, really good angles and chases down would-be touchdowns. His speed is second level coming off the edge. With little resistance from offensive tackles because he's so quick and so good with his hands. He's got great speed to beat down those blocks, to beat down blocks as well, blowing up the play at or behind the line of scrimmage, sometimes even at the mesh point. He's got really good instincts as well, very active with his hands and taking on blockers. But more importantly, when he gets into the backfield, he jumps up. He's got a really nice vertical leap. Oh, yeah, he is a basketball player as well. Gets his hands up and deflects, passes all the time, gets in the face of the quarterback and really causes a whole lot of problems there. He's an all-around player who isn't above running down the field on kickoff, and that's something I've really noticed about, this staff, because if you are pretty much any position outside of interior offensive line and backup quarterback, you're going to play special teams. And Chandavian Bradley is a guy that can, really ball out on special teams. He gives maximum effort on kickoff, on PAT, and field goal blocks. He's blocked a couple of those on his game tape as well. He's really good at assignment football, like playing on the edge. If you have quarterback, dive, or pitch in the option game, he won't be fooled and go for the dive when he's got quarterback. He stays at home, waits, and then goes and attacks and makes the play. He is what Tennessee wants in a Leo. Tennessee wants to replace a Byron Young, to add to James Pierce and Joshua Josephs and maybe even Caleb Perry, Roman Harrison. This guy is good, and this guy is going to be making plays for Tennessee without a doubt. So Tennessee's still in on Rico Walker, of course, but not too bad when you're able to bring in the number 32nd ranked prospect in the entire country in Chandavian Bradley. That was the meat to the commit sandwich. He was the second commit on the weekend, and he was the first commit on Sunday, second commit on the weekend, and he was commit number 17 overall in the class. So Tennessee off and running on the weekend with a commit of Chandavian Bradley. And we'll get into the other two commits. We'll probably start off with the offensive tackle in segment number 2, Shamurad Umarov of Georgia, and tell you all about him coming up here in segment number 2. But first, guys, let me remind you, the sun comes out and small businesses are getting back into business. LinkedIn Jobs makes it easier to grow your team. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the people you want, interview them faster and for free. All right, we've all applied for jobs and we've all put our online resumes out there for LinkedIn and we've been contacted, right? But what if you're the person trying to do the contacting, all right? What if you're the person looking for the right person to join your family, to join your business, to join, your business that you might be created and it's very near and dear to you? LinkedIn Jobs makes that so easy for you. You can create a job post in minutes, and that network allows you to reach to so many different people. Over 810 million people use the LinkedIn Jobs network. Add your job with the purple hiring hashtag frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you are hiring, so your network can help find the right people for you to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so that you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs number 1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. All right. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every single week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Hey guys, I really do want to thank you so much for making Locked On Vols your first listen each and every day. You can find this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, it's on YouTube for free. Just search Locked On Vols. Thank you so much as always. Twitter Tuesday. It is coming up on tomorrow's show. We'll spend all 3 segments if we need to. Whatever questions you guys want to have at _Caner, at Locked On Vols. Get me your questions in for Twitter Tuesday, that mailbag show. Coming up tomorrow. So today we're talking Tennessee commits who jumped in the boat from over the weekend. 3, 2 of which on Sunday, 1 was on Friday. We spoke on the meat of the sandwich in Chandavian Bradley, the highest rated prospect of the group of the 3, the number 32 prospect in the entire country per Rivals. We spoke on him in segment number 1. Let's go back to Friday and let's speak on who I would rate as the second of the 2 of the 3 in this class. And his name is Shamurad Umarov. All right. And so, he is a really talented player. I think he's a 4-star prospect on the other publications, but by Rivals, they have him as a 3-star prospect. But he is so important because Tennessee needs offensive tackles. You have Aiden Bussell in the class, and he jumped in well back. I want to say it was at the end of January, actually. In-state guy, and Tennessee wanted him to kind of start, be a part of, kind of starting this class's momentum, and he very much did. He and Nate Spillman and Caleb Herring, they were very important to what Tennessee was doing early in this cycle. But Tennessee doesn't have an offensive tackle commit so far, since then, or an offensive lineman commit. Remember, Aiden Bussell's more so a guard. He might be rated on some publications as an offensive tackle, but he's more going to be a guard. Tennessee missed out on Francis. Tennessee missed out on, Bryson Sanders, who was going to be an interior guy. Tennessee missed out on, some other guys that, sure, they were involved with, but didn't necessarily take a big old swing and a miss. Like Wilkin Formby is another guy that kind of reminds me of him. Lucas Simmons is a guy that's set to make his announcement tomorrow, but, as I said earlier, I feel like that's an FSU lean right now, so we'll have to see. But it's important to get some guys in the boat now because, some of these guys that you really, really like at offensive tackle, they are coming off the board left and right. So Sham is one of those guys. Shamurad Umarov is one of those guys that Tennessee really, really liked, and he committed to the University of Tennessee on Friday and really got this weekend kind of, off and running. And so really, really nice player, about 6'6", 315 pounds. He's really big and strong. You watch his tape. It's really, really impressive. And this is, we'll get to more of his game in a moment, but this is from his offensive line coach. All right. His offensive line coach at Denmark High School in Georgia. His name is Liam Corley. This is from his offensive line coach. Here's the quote. Quote, Sham's ceiling is through the roof, and the reason for that is because he's still relatively new to the sport. His body is still developing. He's put on almost 100 pounds during his high school career, and this will be his third year starting on varsity. He's really just now starting to hit his stride and realizing what his potential can be. The separation he creates in the pass game and finishing, not giving up too much, is just dominant. His combos to backside and second level are unreal. That's football lingo, if you know what I'm saying. The path he creates in the run game is unreal. Wide zone specifically, his weight room presence, he doesn't skip reps in there, and that has shown up throughout his career here at Denmark. He's incredibly long in terms of what we try to do schematically. We cross-train all summer. That's what Tennessee does as well. So he's taken snaps at center and guard. He's never taken a live in-game snap there, but he has trained there. I do see him as a right tackle at the next, or as a tackle the next level. He plays left tackle for us, but he can play right at times as well, end quote. Again, that's from his offensive line coach at Denmark High School, Liam Corley. All right, so again, he's a 3-star rated offensive tackle prospect per Rivals from Alpharetta, Georgia, from Denmark High School, 6'6", about 315. Rivals has him, again, not as high as some of the other publications. He's a 4-star on 3, and I believe he's a 4-star at 247. A 55th rated offensive tackle in the class per Rivals, 51st in the state of Georgia, 51st prospect in the state of Georgia. And remember, guys, hotbeds in terms of recruiting, Georgia, Texas, Florida, California. Those are the big states in terms of some really, really nice prospects. You know, Alabama would then come in, Louisiana, Mississippi, but Georgia, Florida, Texas, California, the big four, if you will. Those are where some of the best football players are found in the entire country. So Tennessee gets his first offensive tackle commit. What about him? Well, he plays it really, really well, plays it the right way. He has a really good base, doesn't give up too much ground in his pass set. He often takes defenders where they want to go, not working against the grain. So, you know, if you have an edge rusher just flying upfield, as an offensive tackle, you're just going to continue to take him upfield, right? It might look like that guy's getting a whole lot of penetration and getting back there, but what he's really doing is he's taking himself out of the play, and you're just kind of running with him. It's like on kickoff team. They always told us, or on kickoff return team, excuse me, if you're, you know, one of the first two layers or playing that up back or whatever, and you go and take your 10-yard drop, and then you're sitting there chopping your feet and waiting on the runner to come down in your lane, you go and make contact with them. If they want to go left, take them left. If they want to go right, take them right. All you're doing, especially on middle return, is just opening up a running lane. So that's kind of what he does. He does a really, really nice job doing that. His vision is good as well. He does a nice job of picking up blitzing linebackers. So you'll have say a 5 technique that'll shoot inside. Say you're in a 90 pass set, which means that's kind of man. You call it your man or whatever. Say his man will shoot across, the guard will pick him up, then you'll have a linebacker that'll loop around and come in. He'll stay at home and wait on that guy. And so that means eye discipline and very good in this pass set. He also works with his guard really, really well in combo scoops, fold blocks. I know this is a lot of football lingo, but those are just combo blocks essentially with you and a partner, whether it be a double team, you know, one guy holds him up and then the other guy comes and then the first guy leaves and gets the linebacker. One guy goes in front, the other one pulls around and folds up. That's a fold block. Umarov is really, really good in the pass set as well, but the best part about his game is his run blocking. Sham, he's an absolute mauler. He puts defenders on skates. I mean, he really does. The tackle is strong, utilizes his upper body strength to pancake defensive ends, clearing a path for the runner, but his feet are always really, really moving fast. They're fantastic, giving him more power behind those blocks. Sham is dominant in down blocks, proficient in out blocks. He does a great job of getting to the second level and third level of the defense with those arc blocks on the edge as well. He moves very, very good. And again, he's 6'6", 315, plays it the right way, belongs in the Southeastern Conference. Once he gets to Tennessee, reworking some of that fundamental technique will be of importance, like staying low for more, working on his stance and steps just a little bit more. But I don't think it'll take him long to kind of crack the two deep and start to find his role here at Tennessee when he gets back to the University of Tennessee. So again, what's the call to action here? What's the conclusion paragraph of this commit for Sham? Well, Tennessee needs offensive tackles. Tennessee valued 4 offensive tackles entering the month of July: Big Francis, Lucas Simmons, Sham, the guy who just committed, and Stanton Ramel. Francis is already committed to Miami. Lucas Simmons is going later today. We'll see what happens, Tennessee or Florida State, but right now I feel like that's Florida State. But we will see. Tennessee is very much still in that. And we'll have to see coming up later today at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Those are 2. Sham, the guy that just committed, is 3. And then Stanton Ramel is number 4. Stanton has not announced a commitment date just yet, but Tennessee's goal was to get 2 of those 4 offensive tackles before the month of July was over. Tennessee's got 1 of them. We will see if Tennessee can get Stanton or Lucas remaining, but that is why Sham's commitment to the University of Tennessee was much needed and very, very, very important. Plus, it gives some more insurance policy to your 5-star quarterback Nico Imaliava. Again, I mentioned Aiden Bussell is the only offensive line commit so far. That gives Tennessee a guard, and now with Sham in the boat, gives Tennessee a tackle as well. You need some athletic guys up there, strong guys up there. To protect your investment, to put a point blank, and that's Nico Iamaleava. So the second commit of the weekend, well, technically the first commit of the weekend, but the second commit of the weekend that we're recapping is off the board. Check. We broke down Chandavian Bradley. We have broke down Shamurad Umarov. Now, let's talk about Tennessee's linebacker commit, the last one to jump in the boat on the weekend, the second commit for the day of Sunday. His name is Jalen Smith. That's coming up next here on Locked On Balls. BetOnline.net, your number one source for all your sports betting needs and sports information. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, news, including this year's NHL playoffs, Major League Baseball, and more. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. And BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check on all your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, PGA, live golf, all that and more. Reality television too. Head on over to the website today, or you can just use your mobile device to learn about all the latest trends and all the action. BetOnline.net, it is where the game starts. One more segment left here on this Monday and one more commit to break down. We'll get back into our starter spotlight, heading to the secondary, and quite frankly, I might just need another day to think about it on who I want to highlight, because again, it might just turn into a position preview because I have no clue who is going to start really outside the 2 safeties, to be honest. But we'll get back into that starter spotlight coming up tomorrow, along with Twitter Tuesday. Your questions, your comments, your concerns, anything you guys need at _Caner and at Locked On Vols. If you like recruiting, today is the episode for you. Not 1, not 2, but 3 commits for the University of Tennessee from over the weekend. We spoke on Chandavian Bradley, who committed on Sunday. We spoke on Sham Umarov, who committed on Friday, and now the second commit for the day on Sunday. His name is linebacker Jalen Smith. Let's break down his game, shall we? Jalen Smith is let's get it out in the open. He is a smaller linebacker. He is almost 6'1". He doesn't quite measure up to 6'1". He weighs about 210 pounds. Okay, so he's not the biggest linebacker. He is a 4-star rated linebacker per Rivals. Got a really nice rating per Rivals, and he attends Grayson High School. If you remember that, that's where Darnell Wright came from. All right, so Grayson High School is where Jalen Smith attends. He came up for his official visit to the University of Tennessee back on July the 10th, and I got to tell you, he's been really all Vol ever since. I mean, that pretty much solidified it for Jalen Smith. About a month ago, really, about a month ago. And he's kind of been just waiting and went ahead and made that call on Sunday to join the class. So what about Jalen Smith, shall we? Well, that means Tennessee now has 2 inside linebackers joining Jeremiah T-Lander, and now you have Jalen Smith. He's the second commit on Sunday, joining fellow 4-star Chandavian Bradley. It's the 5th. It was the 5th. Remember, he's the last one that committed to the University of Tennessee on Sunday. So it was the 5th commit for the Volunteers in the span of a week, the 6th total commit during the span, and the 7th volunteer pledge dating back to the month of the calendar flipping to July. Smith has been all Vols, again, like I said, for weeks, going back to his official visits. And here's a quote from Adam Gordy, who is the Rivals recruiting director. And here's what he had to say when asked for a scout on Jalen Smith. Quote, Jalen Smith is very talented. He's a very talented inside linebacker. He's not a heavy guy, and that's not just going to come inside and thump some people. But what he does really well is diagnosing what is going on with the offensive play and then attacking the ball carrier to get them on the ground. Whether it's a run play to the outside where they try to stretch things out, he can run those down. Or anything up the middle, he's going to stop them. He does a nice job picking through the crowd and getting to the running back and getting them onto the ground. He can also blitz. He times them up very, very well and picks the spot to go and get after the quarterback. He's not going to be the biggest linebacker you've ever seen, but in terms of a guy who runs around the field and gets people on the ground, I think that is what's most important in the Southeastern Conference now, especially as teams try to spread the field out a little bit. He's going to be able to get all over the place and cover a lot of grass, end quote. Again, that is from Adam Gorney, the Rivals recruiting director for the network. And he's exactly right. As I watched the tape on Sunday, writing up the story at VolQuest.com, all these impact analysis you can find at VolQuest.com that kind of breaks these down in written form. Watching a lot of this tape, and I agree. He's not the biggest guy. Doesn't mean he doesn't come and hit people, but he's not your 6'4", 245-pound middle linebacker, 250-pound middle linebacker. That's not him. He's your almost 6'1", 215 guy that's going to run all over the place. And that's important because, you're seeing it in the Southeastern Conference now. You're seeing these offenses spread things out. Kentucky, second year in a row that they've had an offensive coordinator from the NFL. They are starting to spread things out a little bit more by still keeping their identity of running the football, but still spreading things out a little bit more. Alabama's doing that in recent memory. Lane Kiffin's doing that at Ole Miss. Tennessee's doing that. Missouri's been doing that a little bit. Florida's going to be doing that. Shane Beamer's going to be doing a little bit of that at South Carolina. So, again, you're starting to see even the Southeastern Conference adapt in terms of offense and really some of the NFL too. So having linebackers who can absolutely run, and that's important too for Tennessee's defense because they played with 5 defensive backs on the field, 4 defensive linemen, and then 2 guys in the middle. Those 2 guys in the middle have got to be able to run and tackle. Jeremy Banks and Aaron Beasley, they led Tennessee at 1 and 2 in tackles last year. Obviously, those guys can run as well. But this is Jalen Smith again. This is my scout on him. He's really smart and he's really quick. He studies film, knows exactly where the ball is going to go. Nearly 6'1", 215. He reads through his blocks on the line of scrimmage and attacks the ball carrier to make the stops. The best part about the new Tennessee commit is his acceleration. He has got a quick acceleration. He diagnosed what's going on. The linebacker plants his foot and gets upfield in a hurry, lots of times resulting in tackles for loss. Grayson plays a lot of cover 3 and 4 look in the back end. That means that the middle linebacker has quarterback contained on rollouts or delayed draws, and he is really, really good in that regard. He just chases. He'll just sit around, hang out. The guy will roll out, and he'll go and just tackle him for a 10, 15-yard loss at points in times for the sack. He's really, really good in that regard, and that utilizes both his acceleration and his speed. The second layer of the defense in the middle, Smith displays a sharp first step and works downhill with the motion of the play. He runs the alley well. Again, you guys have probably heard me say that so many times when talking about a linebacker, meaning he closes the space between he and the ball carrier to make the play at or behind the line of scrimmage, moving laterally. So you're moving sideways, but you're gaining vertical strides in the process. Runs it really, really good. Henry Tuoltuo, I said it when he was a freshman here at Tennessee, runs the alleyway so well. And that's something that is instinctive of a linebacker, and Jalen Smith has that. Smith has good habits playing over the blocks, not running underneath them, something I was talking about Jeremy Banks doing at Tennessee. And if he does that, he takes himself out of the play, which he doesn't do. Finally, the blitzing, as Adam pointed out up top, he blitzes pretty good from the second level. His timing is really, really good, knows when to go. With a good blend of smarts and speed, Smith is a dangerous combination and a really good prep level in the state of Georgia. And we know how good the high school football is in Georgia. What he will benefit from when getting to Tennessee is a strength and conditioning program. He can't afford to put on a whole lot of weight because he's not that tall, but he can put on, 15 to 20 pounds of muscle, in my opinion. And he'll need to do that, because again, he is a little bit undersized here at the prep level as far as the Southeastern Conference prospect. He'll be an instant contributor on special teams when he sets foot on campus. And we'll see exactly how well he progresses in terms of that depth chart for the fall of 2023. But I like this commit because, again, it shows Tennessee is continuing to be well-rounded. Tennessee now has it has 2 Leos, 2 inside linebackers, 3 defensive linemen, 3 safeties, and a cornerback on the defensive side of this class already. So sure, you need to add some more interior defensive linemen and you need to add some more cornerbacks, but you got the foundation is laid here for this class. You really, really do. I just mentioned on the defensive side, but on offense, 5-star quarterback, 2 offensive linemen already, a running back, and 2 receivers, and a really nice tight end. or one receiver, excuse me, in a really, Cam Selden, we'll have to see how that goes. But so really on both sides of the football, Tennessee has laid a solid foundation for this 2023 recruiting class. And I think Tennessee is going to finish with the top 10 class. I really, really do. I think Tennessee, before it's all said and done, will finish with a top 10 class, but it is a long way to go between now and National Signing Day in December. I think it's December the 15th is National Signing Day, and I'm getting married 2 days afterwards. Shouts for there. So you can send all your presents to me at _Kaner at Locked On Ball. Send to the radio station, 99.1 The Sports Animal, off Old Kingston Pike in Knoxville, Tennessee. All right, so Jalen Smith, the second inside linebacker of the class, and really capped off what was a prosperous weekend for the University of Tennessee. Again, Tennessee now has 18 total commits, 11 on defense, 7 on offense. It has brought in 7 commits in the month of July, 6 of which for the class of 2023. The other, the highly rated 4-star athlete from IMG Academy, Jonathan Eccles, who was the first pledge for the class of 2024. Tennessee is firmly entrenched as a top 10 recruiting class, no matter where you look at Rivals, 247 on 3 ESPN. Tennessee is a top 10 class at current standing. So we'll see what Lucas Simmons decides to do later on today, 1 o'clock Eastern time. He will announce between Tennessee and Florida State. We'll have to see what happens there. And, we'll see other highly prized prospects for Tennessee, like offensive tackle Stanton Rommel, wide receiver Nathan Laycock. What will those guys decide to do here in the coming days to weeks? Those guys, I believe, will be nearing decisions here pretty soon as well. But a really, really good run here in the month of July for the University of Tennessee in terms of recruiting. And we'll have to see if that can continue on as we venture on throughout the rest of the month of July. That's going to do it here for this edition of Locked On Vols. We talked all recruiting here, and really do appreciate you guys for hanging out and staying with me here today. Again, Twitter Tuesday tomorrow, _Kaner, Locked On Vols. Get me in your questions, your comments, your concerns, anything you guys have. I'm going to do my best to answer it on tomorrow's show, Twitter Tuesday here on Locked On Vols. And we'll get back into our starter spotlight. We'll head to the secondary, look at one of the cornerback positions, and we'll try to make sense of it, all right? Or we might start with safety to give myself even more time to figure out who's going to play corner and the star position. But thank you so much, as always, for making Locked On Vols your first listen. You know the drill now. Locked On SEC. Chris Gordy will take you throughout the conference in 30 minutes or less. Locked On SEC, your second listen. Behind Locked On Vols, your first listen here on the show. I will be live at SEC Media Days next week in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to do the show from down there every single day. And so looking forward to that, guys. And Chris Gordy will be there. So be sure you dial into both of our podcasts every day, but specifically next weekend at SEC, or next week at SEC Media Days. That'll do it here for today. We'll tie a bow on this week coming up later on. We've got plenty to get into. Sorry, I got confused. My dog just barked at me, so I guess that means I needed to get off here. At _Gator, at Locked On Balls. Appreciate it, guys. We'll see you tomorrow on a Tuesday for Twitter Tuesday. But until then, enjoy the rest of your Monday, everybody.